perfect segue. We'll try to keep our eyes from bulging out of our eye sockets as we talk about Total Recall. Arnold Schwarzenegger, we see him on the monitor back there. Young Arnie, looking good.
Man Quaid.
He had huge involvement in this movie too. He wasn't just in it. He was able to have veto power over the director, and
how do you? I guess when you're Arnold, you're just
Arnold can peak of his powers.
And you get the power you need.
He was a big deal.
That was right when he was blowing up at
That's what I was going to say is like late 80s, early 90s was the time of this really big sort of studio system at its peak, post, the sort of the 70s, the height of filmmaking, where there were people like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone who were able at this point in their career where they were effectively producers of the movie.
That's right.
Their star power is
totally
so
involved.
great that they have decisions over what cuts make it in, like who directs the movie and stuff like that, because the movie effectively sits on their marketing power, their star power.
He did this and T2 right in a row too. So I mean, this was the year of Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, I mean he had a great run. He did Conan, T1, T2, and then this, like all within a span of like 7 or 8 years.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Total Recall, though, based on a Philip K. Dick story.
Short story, yeah.
I don't think that adaptation is very close.
And
then there's a recent
barely
remake.
an adaptation.
Well, as is the case with most
it's called
adaptations,
Minority
of Philip
Report's
K.
very loose as well.
Yeah.
Philip K. Dick has
Which
a
was
weird...
going to be a sequel to Total Recall originally. The Minority Report was the source material for a Jonathan Frakes directed sequel to Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger that never happened. What could have been?
Yeah, right.
Just even imagining what that would be like is basically impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, Philip K. Dick novels and short stories have been adapted into the cinema for a long time, but very rarely are they even recognized as adaptations.
The memory parts don't really matter in this movie too much. Once they get to Mars, then it's all about mutants and terraforming.
The sort of like class struggle.
Yeah, like it becomes like a very alien-like or aliens-like movie. It's also Schwarzenegger was totally into the idea of Paul Verhoeven directing this, so he personally recruited him after seeing RoboCop. And it totally has the RoboCop gross out elements to it. With it's violent, but it also has that technology and mutant gross out stuff.
Well, just pulling the tracker out of his nose.
Oh yeah.
And the suit where he's dressed up as a woman.
I love that when the wig is off and just comes.
Some of those practical effects they're so stunning, for their time. By nowadays standards, they're a little bit dated, but if you watch that movie then, it was some of the most interesting stuff you've ever seen. When he pulls the tracking device out of his head, you can easily spot the point where it changes from real Arnold to crazy fake. Well, I watched it again last night because it'd been a while since I'd seen it.
And you could, just because by nature of Blu-ray, you could see it?
Well, it's just, I mean, nowadays, since we're so reliant on CG, it's very easy to spot practical effects when they're done back in the 90s, It's pretty easy.
The conjoined twin, I always remember looking really cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff that still really holds up. That's what I was going to say about
dude's
Total
weird
Recall.
lizard arm.
Oh, yeah, where he
he
pulls off his other hand first, and then he's like, I'm one of you. And he has that arm. The cabbie. That Total Recall is a really interesting spot because you have now the remake with Colin Farrell.
No, we don't.
Nobody really remembers it. It kind of came and went. Just TMNT, the Michael Bay version.
Yeah, it came and went.
Yeah.
But one of the great things one of the good things about remakes is it kind of contextualizes what makes the originals so great.
Absolutely.
And watching Total Recall versus the Total Recall that we got with Colin Farrell, I think it was 2012. The script's way tighter and much simpler because it makes for an easier action movie, but it lacks any of the imagination and sort of deeper themes that Paul Verhoeven is really known for doing. He's always made kind of subversive movies and violent movies that deal with things that are deeper than what they appear to be. There's a lot of class struggle and sort of oppression going on in this film, and later on in films, or even earlier with RoboCop, and later on with films like, Starship Troopers. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's really crazy, and the new one lacks any of that.
Well, let's